Not so good day, my friends. I am totally disgusted by what is happening with our country now. I was fortunate to escape in 1973 the non-existing now involuntary union of the Soviet socialist republics called the USSR. All socialist countries ever existed in history, including the USSR, were not able to produce enough food to feed their population, enough clothes to make people warm in winters and decent in summers, and in order to buy a car, you were to wait in line for 4 to 5 years, but every Sunday you were supposed to come to the designated place to confirm that you still want the car. If one Sunday you wouldn't come, you will be kicked out of the line. My dad went several years to confirm, and one time he was on a business trip and wasn't able to come, but do not worry. In socialist paradises, you always can find a back door. There were many people who were in this and many other waiting lists only because they wanted to sell their place in line. So my dad purchased another place instead of his lost one, and in about 6 months were given an opportunity to buy a car. He was called by the dealership and told that he has a window of one day to bring money, and in Soviet Union it meant cash. Will not be able to choose color or anything else about the car, but will get whatever is there. What a happy day it was. You Westerners know nothing about happiness. If there is no food for 3 days in supermarkets, and then you suddenly see a huge line, to supermarket and around it, and you stay for 2 3 hours with one thought in mind. You hope that it will not end until you reach the counter. You even don't know what it is. You actually do not care what it is. It's food. I think I am uniquely qualified to judge the current situation here in the United States of America. Not only I myself lived in the USSR, in Israel, in Europe, and since 1984 here in the US, but my grandparents came from Austria on one side and from Ukraine on another side. There are tales of older generation passed on us about Hitler, Stalin, concentration camps, and ghettos. We immigrants who came to this country, who feel that this country gave us huge, unbelievable for us opportunity, that it is shielding us from wars, oppression, anti-Semitism, that allow us to live normal life. We love America. And for many years, while here, every time we were sitting at the table with friends celebrating something, one of us would get up, take his glass, and say as a toast for America. And we taught our children to appreciate and love our new homeland. During last 8 years, this tradition quietly disappeared. Not that we stopped loving this wonderful country of ours. However, we felt that the country moving into a wrong and terrible direction of socialism. And we knew both faces of socialism, one called communism and another called fascism. I know that most of you, dear Americans, do not believe that such thing can happen here. I have heard arguments from where different people were better to we have internet. However, human nature is much more powerful than internet, and internet can be used to make from you, dear individuals, a totally faceless crowd that will hurt, kill, and curse everyone who is not in agreement with the great doctrine that is so good that it shall be implemented despite the opposition, and those masses of killers will feel good about crushing the opposition to the progressive voices. The progress, as it is understood by those who would be playing you like a flute. Hitler's, Stalin's, and Mao's of the world first tried to find an enemy for the masses. Hitler demonized Jews, Stalin everyone who had education or useful property, Mao everyone who was not on his side. Then they take weapons from people's hands. So there will be no resistance. Then they organize brown shirts, black shirts, Hitler Jugend, Komsomol, Hunvei beans. They train them in hate. They start small, but they grow every day, with every new fire started at universities, or beating of a man and a woman who were wearing wrong clothes or who didn't salute the new order. The same way it happened in Vietnam, in Cambodia, in Poland, in Czechoslovakia, and in countless other countries. I looked at the beating of the Trump supporters in Berkeley. They were expressing their hope for the changes they want to come to this country. It is their right and privilege in the United States of America. Then anti-Trump crowd began to show up, among them many athletic built youth in hoodies and face covered. Several older people were beaten, several were sprayed with pepper spray, some went to hospital, women were assaulted. Those strong guys reminded me the ones who burned buildings in Berkeley University not long ago. They reminded me of Occupy LA, Occupy Washington, Occupy Wall Street. Suddenly such professionally looking guys were infiltrating the groups of sincere protesters, and voila, somebody was beaten or something was burning, American flags stamped and burned as well, cars were damaged, stores vandalized and loitered. I'm not judging political motives or intentions of the participants. They can differ from mine, but they have a right to have them and express them, until and unless they hurt other people or their belongings. Remember riots? I do not feel that it all was spontaneous demonstration, like Benghazi, attack on the U.S. diplomatic compound with the ambassador killed. That we were told, like we were idiots, that it was spontaneous expression of very well organized and prepared people with a lot of firepower. Today, our ex-attorney general, who secretly met with Bill Clinton while investigating his wife, said about the past years of progressive movement: they have marched, they have bled, and yes, some of them died. This is hard. Every good thing is. We have done this before. We can do it again. What it was? A call for arms, to continue with protests knowing that someone can die? I do not know why she said what she said. Really cannot enter her mind. But in the current explosive climate, it is extremely dangerous. Because people may start dying on the streets. Because it's not a game to have young men in dark clothes with covered faces burning flags, cars, universities, looting stores and beating those who is not with them. It is not a game. This is exactly how fascism or communism came to power, using millions of good people with good intentions. Fascists will not come with, dark faces resembling hyenas. They will come in white costumes with Che Guevara's romantic profiles. And in one moment there will be Cuba all over, with brothers Fidel and Raul Castro in charge. And as it customary with all progressives, the cleansing or cleaning of the nation will start. I am sure millions will applaud and say they deserve it. They were against the progress or something like that, until secret police will come for themselves, in one of those mornings, and no weapons in your hands, and no one to stand with you, and your friends will say, probably he deserved it. Dear fellow Americans, Republicans, Libertarians, Liberals, Independents, and all others, wake up, wake up. We are very close to riots on the streets of all our major cities, to killings of political enemies. We are close to becoming the Union of Socialist States of America, USSA. If army or police are as politicized as our intelligence agencies, it all can happen in one day. You go to bed in the USA, and when you wake up, it's already USSA. You think it's crazy and stupid and impossible? Ask Germans in 1935 or Russians in 1916. Dostoevsky, Tchaikovsky, Tolstoy didn't help them, exactly like Schumann, Bach, Goethe, Heine didn't help Germans. Like Bill Gates, Madonna, and Lady Gaga will not help you. Hitlerjugend marching and destroying America shall be stopped. We're a great nation. At least we were once. I believe we can unite facing this terrible danger and resolve our differences in a non-violent way. It hurting every one of us, whatever political views or party we might belong to. If we will say in one voice, no to violence, no to burning buildings, no to destroying the property, then those that doing that will hide in whatever holes they crawled from. Then they stand no chance. It is time for Americans to realize that we have much more similarities than differences. It is time to overcome this terrible illness called socialism, the terrible disease of the 20th century that killed tens of hundreds, even millions of innocent people. Dear fellow countrymen, you think you know what it is. I'm sorry, but you don't. Please, please, believe the people who came from those terrible regimes that mask themselves as defenders of humanity, friends of liberty, paradise for workers, and champions of equality. Millions ran away from those regimes at the first opportunity. Do not forget that America has different problem. Millions of people want to stay in this blessed land. They want to come here legally, illegally, because this is a great country. There is always one generation, however, between freedom and oppression. I do not want my generation to be this last generation. I hope, I'm sure, together we will stop the madness, and my friends will again raise our glasses to praise America, the last hope of humanity. Thank you.